Hello and welcome to Low Carb Conversations. I'm your host, Leah Williamson, and I'm with my host, Holly Jean. Welcome, Holly.
Hi, Leah. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really well. What's been happening? We haven't since we've been starting videos, we really haven't been giving a bit of an update to our listeners. So let's tell them what we've been up to.
I know. Yeah, I feel like we've been missing out on a lot. It's been so busy. Well, I do have a war wound to share. My son just turned 10, and over the weekend we went paintballing, and my husband shot me like
Oh,
right in the arm. That hurt. So when they say paintballing hurts, it's true. But aside from that, just been busy. We announced on Instagram today that I have joined the Keto Road coaching team. So I will be joining them as a true nutrition coach. That's with Jonathan Shane, and he's been on the show. So
has
if
been.
you guys want to give a listen, that was back in episode number 408, and it was really when we were talking to him on that episode, and I found myself thinking, oh, I'd love to work with him someday because I really just love his philosophy and the way he runs his program. So I will be transferring my practice over to the Keto Road platform, and I'll be available for coaching with them starting July 1st. And it's still going to be my programs. I've just kind of revamped them. So keep an eye out for that. I will be sharing a launch of my program with them that will start, even though I'll start with coaching individual clients July 1st, but I'll be launching a group program in August.
That's so exciting. Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. What about you? What have you been up to?
Well, I've been really busy with the first workshop weekend for the Nutritional Therapy Association here in Australia. So we had our get together, our cohort get together where we do our functional testing. So that was pretty exciting. All the students did really well, and it was a really fun weekend. Lots of great nutrition. We all get together and we have lots of great food, and it's a long, busy, tiring weekend, but so rewarding. And the students just get so much out of it. So really love that. So that's what I've been up to. But also, I'm wrapping up my USA class, which is the online NTPO version of the course. And in America, the students have been doing so well. Almost at that end, like there's just a few weeks to go. I can't believe it. I feel like all my little babies are all growing up and moving out of home. So so really looking forward to that. And then registration's already open for the new September round. So that's open right now. You can go and sign up if you're thinking about making a career change. The course actually starts on September 13th, runs for 10 months. It's all online. That's particularly for those that are in the US region and around those areas. If you're in Australia, there's different course dates. So you can just send me a message if you're interested in that. But in particular, we're talking about the USA one. And yeah, it's so fantastic. So Holly, why don't you tell listeners a little bit about your experience?
I was so thankful when I found the NTA program because I was already like thinking about doing a career change. I had been an executive assistant for my like entire professional career, but just had an interest in more health and wellness, and thought about going back to school to be a dietitian or a nutritionist, but just the philosophies of that type of schooling just didn't speak to me. So when I found NTA and how they're based in ancestral wisdom and really focusing on a nutrient dense diet and looking at the whole person and lifestyles when it comes to nutrition, that's how when I knew it was right for me. But it wasn't until like going through the program and finishing it that I realized it was so much more than just nutrition. The other classmates that were in there with me, they weren't all going through the program because they wanted to start a practice or to go into business for themselves. A lot of them were there because they were doing their own healing, or they had someone in their family they wanted to learn from. And so it was after the program I realized nutrition is so much more than just what you're eating, but it provides you so much freedom in life. Like once you have your health, when you can properly nourish your body and give your body what it needs, you're then free to do so many other things. You're free to change careers. You're free to take care of yourself. You're free to do whatever you desire because you have that health. And really think that freedom is like the biggest gift. So I love the NTA program. And like I said, not everyone is wanting to become a practitioner or go into business, but just that foundation of knowledge that you get, like holistically when it comes to nutrition is just amazing. And I've learned so much. It blew me away. It was more than I expected.
Yeah, same. And I've shared my experience on past episodes as well. And I never dreamed that the career path it would take me on would be actually teaching for them as an instructor. So that's been so rewarding for me because not only do I get to speak about nutrition every day, and I watch so many people heal themselves, heal others, become amazing practitioners, go out into the world and just spread that real food message, which I'm so passionate about. So that's been really rewarding for me as well. So yeah, registration, it's open now. Uh, its class starts for the September round on the 13th of September. We have a banner on our Low Carb Conversations website, or we'll link it up in the show notes as well. So if you can click on the little badge and it says, it'll take you right through to the program so you can see more details about it. Holly and I are always available. If you want to slide into our DMs and ask us any questions about the course, we're more than happy to share about it. We're just so passionate about it. We love it. So please ask away. We'd love to hear from you. And yeah, so moving on though, speaking of real food, I wanted to ask you about Outer Isle and what you've been creating in the kitchen.
Well, you know what? I haven't created anything new. I'm really sticking to like my avocado toast in the morning. I still really love making like quick pizzas for lunch or an easy snack for the kids, or even for myself. Um, Use them for tacos. But I know our listeners are loving them because we keep seeing the orders coming through. So I would
Right.
love, love, love if you guys would send us what you're making. I need some new inspiration because I'm just stuck in the same three things, even though I love them. So I want to see what you're making. Send them to us, tag us on Instagram, post them in the Facebook group, and we'll share them, right, Leah?
Yeah, definitely. I want to live vicariously through these cauliflower crusts. I want some here. One day I'll definitely get to taste it. When the world opens up, I'm flying straight to Holly's house and she's going to make me a big batch and I'm just going to sit there and eat the whole time.
I am. And I kind of feel weird because like when people come over, I was like, have you tried these yet? Because I love them so much. So I'm spreading the love on those cauliflower thins.
And our discount code's still going. So make sure you head over to the show notes, grab that code, put it in, and get a good discount while that offer is still available because we know you guys are loving them and we want to see the different recipes and share them around so everyone has different inspiration on what to make. All right. Now we're going to, it's a co host episode. So we usually recap the past few episodes that we've really enjoyed. And so the first one we're going to talk about is episode 428 called 4 Secrets to Chemical Free Living with Tim James. So, Tim, we spoke to him about all different kind of aspects of clean living. He had an amazing health journey. Like he was really down and out with his health and overcame many obstacles to lead a chemical free life. And his story, just even listening to that at the start of the podcast, is just, you know, overcoming adversity and gaining health and helping friends with that as well. It's just a true inspiration. Holly, what was some of your thoughts on that podcast episode?
Oh man, we covered so much, but I mean, he's the chemical free guy. So I really liked how he talked about the conversation we had about the importance of avoiding chemicals, the ones we can control, but then why it's important to detox your body regularly because we are constantly exposed to the chemicals and things that we can't control. And then also why we need to use supplements to support our body in those detoxification processes, because our food, our soil, our plants aren't as nutrient dense as they once were because our soils are depleted. And so it's kind of like this whole circle of why it's all important and why they tie together. So it was a really good conversation, I felt.
Yeah, definitely. And at the end, he does share his secrets to longevity. And one of them I really loved, I resonated with, and I thought I just mentioned it here again. He talked about not drinking any liquids while you're eating. And a funny little side story to that, while he was speaking about it, I was like, I do that already. Because when I was younger, mum and dad would always make my brother, or not make, but my brother and I had to share whatever drink we were having if we went out, because we were always on a budget, and they didn't want us drinking much soda anyway. So we would share one glass of whatever it was we were allowed to have. And I would always wait until after the meal, because I was like, that's when I'm the most thirstiest, is after the meal. I don't want to waste the drink during the meal. Plus, I need room for eating. Don't want to fill up on liquid. So I just trained myself from a really young age never to drink while I'm having a meal. And I even do that in later life now. But it's so funny because, like, I may have, a drink with me, whatever it might be, and someone will always ask if they want to clear it away, or can they finish off the drink, or whatever. And I'm like, no, I'm just saving it to the end. I just don't drink and eat. And my children are always like, come on, mum, like, just finish the drink. And I'm like, no. I need to savor it for after. And they're like, there's more if you need it. So I just thought that was funny. And I'm actually doing some great benefit for my health there, apparently, by not drinking and eating at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, and just to touch on that, like for maybe people who are new to listening to the show, but the reason being is because if you're drinking a bunch of liquids while you're eating, you're diluting those stomach acids and juices that you need to actually digest your food.
Yeah.
Um, as you were saying that, I was thinking about that. There's like some advice that goes around for like diet advice to drink a bunch of water or drink a lot during meals because it does fill you up. So when you said, like because it fills you up, that there's that contradicting advice to, yes, drink a bunch of water so you don't eat as much food, but you're really doing yourself a disservice by doing that. So
Yeah, that's so true. And we're going to talk a little bit more about things like that in one of the articles too. So stay tuned for some of those tips. All right. Then we spoke to Dr. Alison Kay for episode 429, and it was all about holistic energy healing. And she was really amazing. We had such a unusual for the podcast. It was a very unique conversation. It wasn't to do about food. It was more on that holistic. It was more around energy, but it ties in so nicely with everything that we do. So what were your thoughts on that episode, Holly?
I wasn't sure what to expect from Dr. Allison, but I was so drawn into our conversation with her. And my favorite part was her story about how she never had like a moment of trauma or a health scare or really anything major that led her to the life path that she's on as being a healer. Where a lot of times when we talk to our guests, it's because something happened or that led them on that journey. And so she was different that way. And she was talking about how she just the way she grew up, she was in nature and she just always had that connection and that appreciation to nature and the earth and energies and stuff. And so it was just neat because she didn't ever really have to go back to her roots or go back to more of a natural, holistic way of living because she never really left it. So it was really inspiring. I loved that conversation with her.
Yeah, so did I. And she talked a lot about the conscious and subconscious. So if you want to listen into that and hear some of those great tips and stories that she shares, it's a great episode to listen to.
I feel like all of our guests this month kind of had like similar themes talking about like mindset and
Subconscious.
subconscious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is really great. And it just
But
goes
in
to
very
show.
different ways.
That's right. And it goes to show too, it's just not always about food and nutrition, is it? Mindset is such a big component of that on top of everything.
Yeah.
So yeah. And then we had 4:30, so our latest episode with Keith Norris. Always so great to speak with Keith. He's been on the podcast before, but we had such a different conversation this time with him, and it was just about questioning. He's saying you don't need to be rude about it. You don't need to kind of argue with people, but you can respectfully have conversations with each other, and you don't need to agree, but you can respect each other for the differences that you see in that. And I thought that was quite a great way of putting it. What were your thoughts, Holly?
Yeah, agreed. And it's like not giving so much power to people just because they're considered an expert or they're presented to you as being an authority in something, to just really, like you said, question, Leah, and um, just always not really necessarily have your guard up, but be able to look at the advice that someone is giving you objectively and weigh it against whether or not it is something you truly believe, either from your experience or from your own research. And so, yeah, man, so many great guests this month because that really
Yeah.
was a good conversation. Oh, and we talked about his book. He
Mhm.
has a book out called Primal Uprising, and that really just goes into um, he paints this picture of how we've kind of been indoctrinated to believe that we need like this system and we need these experts and we need these um, authorities to kind of tell us how to live, but really we don't need them. We can, he goes through steps on how we can kind of be free and claim our own power through taking certain steps to optimize our health.
Yeah, definitely. Such a great perspective. A little bit different to the usual for most people. It's not so
Mhm.
mainstream, and like all three of our guests this month, they've definitely been like that. And I think it's just opening up to new conversations and new ways of looking at things. These are articles that are coming through in the news that everybody's reading, so why not look at them a bit more objectively and formulate your own thoughts? And you don't have to agree with us and all the guests, and sometimes we don't even as well, but it's still great to listen to those conversations and formulate your own opinions based on the information that's being provided to you. All right. So that's our episodes recapped. And we've got a couple of articles that we're going to look at today. Then I'm going to hand it over to Holly, who's going to let us know what the first one is.
All right. This first article is talking about what your doctor doesn't know about nutrition. And I think we've talked about on the show before how um, medical doctors aren't necessarily the most thoroughly trained in nutrition. But the summary of this article is just talking about how, ever since COVID, people have become more aware of their own immunity and their own health. And there's all these buzzwords going around of how to strengthen your immune system. Like it's almost become an obsession. And people are looking more into how to support their body nutritionally. But different nutrients can have different impacts on your bodies for different people, especially depending on what kind of specific health issues you may be having. So this article is talking about to find the root cause of health concerns, people need to consult not only doctors, but diet and nutrition specialists as well, because doctors are experts in medicine and not in creating personalized diet plans. Leah, did you have any thoughts that really like jumped off the
Well,
page at you for this article?
when I first read the article, I was like, oh, I like that title. That's true. Generalizing, most doctors don't tend to be experts in nutrition, or they've been formulating their views on the food pyramid, standard Australian American diets, because that's kind of what they're bound to discuss with that's in their scope to discuss with clients. But then it was very heavy on recommending dietitians. I looked down the bottom and saw it was written by a dietitian, and I was thinking, well, that's still similar. They're very bound by certain boundaries as well, and then they kind of discuss a little bit around nutritionists and saying that some nutritionists only study for 1 to 3 months for a certification, which can be true too. And there is a lot of online courses and things, and after that you can call yourself a nutritionist. But to me it was kind of like, but that doesn't mean people don't know about nutrition either. There's a lot of confusion out there, but there's a lot of educated people that have lived through it and had that experience, and that what their experience has done for them might help others as well. And then maybe they've gone on to get some formalized education. And I would say, I might get in trouble from the dietitians for this, but some dietitians, the ones that are listening to this probably aren't these dietitians, aren't the only people that can tell us. There's a lot of good nutritionists out there as well. It's kind of where I'm getting at, especially I might be biased, but if you have studied through the Nutritional Therapy Association, which is a very in-depth course over 10 months, which goes through a lot of science as well. And it's very intense, that 10 months, but a lot of great learning points in that. So what were your thoughts, Holly?
Yeah, kind of the same thing. And it's just, yeah, not all dietitians or nutritionists are created equally. And yes, they do have more training than um, a traditional medical doctor when it comes to nutrition. But as Leah said, that training is not always the same. And a lot of the nutrition schools do teach off of the food pyramid, which means most, not most, but I'll say people going through programs like that are being trained in whatever the government is setting as regulations and not necessarily what is the most current nutrition science. And so there are those differences. And yeah, just because you have those initials after your name doesn't mean you're not just picking up a protocol from a textbook and applying that generally as a blanket across the board to all people. So the good things about the article is that it does talk about how if you're working with a nutrition professional, they will go into, a good one will go into more lifestyle factors too. And they will want to know not only what you're eating, but maybe when you're eating, how you're eating, your levels of stress, how you're sleeping, your level of activity and movement. And so while a doctor may prescribe, like just listen to what your symptom is and prescribe something, a nutritionist or a nutrition professional will look at the bigger picture and try to customize something specific for you and your needs and your specific health situation. So it did have some good stuff for that.
Yeah, true. And I like that model that you don't just need one person. Like in the, years ago, it was always just the doctor that you went to, and that's who gave you the advice, and you trusted that doctor, and that's all there was. But these days we realize there's more than just that. So you might have, if you've got a particular condition, you might have the doctor for that. And then you might have a nutritionist to help you with the nutrition side of it. And then you might have um, a mindset coach or something spiritual to help you with mindset. And then you might have sports, like a personal trainer or something like that, to help you with movement and exercise. So you don't just need one person anymore these days. You can have multiple people that you see at various times and different stages of your journey.
Yeah, you can have a whole team. And sometimes it helps if that whole team is kind of maybe like-minded to where they are looking at you as a whole person and not just a component of something. Um, but then other times it might be better if you do have some diversity and maybe they aren't all from the same school of thought. So just depending on where you are and how educated you are in being able to discern the information that's coming for you, because just as we just talked about, just because someone's telling you this is what you must do doesn't mean you always have to take that advice because they are the authority.
I think just listening into yourself and tuning back into your body. And if you need help doing that, there's people that can help that. But if you can try and practice that yourself, the answers will come to you. Who do I need now? Maybe the journey can be resolved by just trusting what I know inside of me, even reading information, learning yourself, being empowered. I mean, there's so many different ways to come at the journey, and, you know, so many different people that you could talk to. Just, it's just really what resonates with you and what works best for you to get that outcome that you're looking for.
Definitely. The body always knows
That's
that
right.
innate wisdom. So if you can learn that skill of how to listen to your body and to trust it, to trust that intuition, um, man, I think that's more than half the battle right there.
That's right. Right. Well, we have another article too today, which is something that a nutritionist could help you with as well if you were looking at it. So tell us about this article.
This one is called, actually, what is this one called? Sorry, I didn't. Oh, 12 effective ways to manage your food cravings. Um, and this one, everyone's experienced food cravings at some time or another. And the article says that it's estimated that over 90% of the world's population gets food cravings. Sometimes they can be hard to ignore. Sometimes they can lead you to consuming an excessive amount of calories, maybe some not so great food choices. But they wanted to go through these steps as to maybe why you could be having cravings and what you can do about it. And actually, I thought it was a pretty good list. And so I'm just going to list off the 12 things, and then Leah and I can just kind of chat about the ones that resonate with us the most. But the first one is eat enough calories. Next, avoid restrictive diets. Don't let yourself get ravenously hungry. Eat filling, nutrient dense foods. Stop obsessing over calories. Allow yourself to enjoy your favorite foods. Eat to manage your blood sugar, manage your stress, get enough sleep, reduce your intake of certain carbs, cut back on highly palatable foods, and maintain a healthy body weight. So those were the 12 things they said to help manage your cravings. Leah, where should we start off? What was your favorite one on this list?
I know there's a lot of good ones on there, but before I even get
There
started in that,
are.
I wanted to talk about, food cravings. Like, is it a craving if you're just, starting off that digestive process, which is like smell, see, looking at food, that's connecting that brain to start the whole digestive process. Is that a food craving because my stomach started growling at the smell of something good, or is that my digestive process, kicking in and making it start doing the things it needs to do? That's something that I want to ask. What do you think, Holly?
No, absolutely, because we as humans are actually made to crave. We are designed to want to eat food because food is life. If we do not eat, we die. And so, yes, we are biologically, physiologically wired to want to eat food and to have a desire to eat foods because that is what keeps us alive. And so there's a difference between food. Yes, food sounds good. That smells good. That tastes good. I want that. To, oh my gosh, I need potato chips right now.
Yeah,
Like
that's right.
there's a difference in cravings, but just know that if you are craving foods, you are a normal human and your body is working the way it's supposed to.
Definitely. I think I'll start with getting enough sleep, because I feel like lately I have not been getting enough sleep. And that definitely makes me want comforting foods, which I could say could be craving more of the carbohydrates and those type of foods when I'm in that mode, because it's more of the comfort that comes from those foods, the full belly, which helps you to go to sleep. So that's something that I can see is like, okay, working on my sleep health, getting to bed a bit earlier if I can, or getting, once I get to sleep, I stay asleep. Let's face it, I do not wake up. But if I stay up later than I need to, then I know the next day is not going to be great food wise, because you may be so tired, you're just going to reach for whatever's there, reach for those comforting foods to comfort you. So, what do you think?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and there are studies that directly link sleep to weight gain and cravings, and it's for a variety. I wish I had like the numbers or the studies off the top of my head, but it's for a variety of reasons. And one, just because, like you mentioned, you're just too tired to put in the energy to make good choices. Your brain, when it's tired, it doesn't want to have to think about things. The decision making process is exhausting. And so you can just grab whatever. And then also, if you're tired, your body's going to be wanting a pick me up. And so you will have more of those cravings for sugary foods, just for that energy boost.
Definitely. So, what's one that you picked on the list here?
I kind of have a couple that like just went together, but that first one of like eat enough calories and don't let yourself get ravenously hungry. I feel like those kind of go together for me. But I find, especially as women, like when we're dieting and trying to cut back on calories, we just don't eat enough because we think that's going to help us lose weight. But really, it ends up making us so hungry that we eat more, especially like if you're not eating enough during the day. Like I have so many clients say I'm really good at breakfast and lunch, but at nighttime, or even if I have a good dinner, I just want to eat everything in sight. And it's like because you're not consuming enough calories during the day, and so you're letting yourself get so hungry to where it's like uncontrollable to just want to eat everything, and that leads to really intense cravings. So those ones really stood out to me because too many people just do not eat enough calories.
I know. And I feel like back in the days when we're trying the bulletproof coffee and just having that for breakfast in the morning, I know that by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm like, want something else. Like it's just not enough to get through the day. It kind of sets that rhythm off, me personally. And I know it works for different people as well.
Mhm.
But for me, I need a filling, nutrient dense breakfast to get me through the whole day without any cravings.
Yeah, I can't even count how many people I've seen who say, "I've tried intermittent fasting or I've tried doing this fasting, and then I just end up getting so hungry, I eat everything." And it's like, okay, well, that's not working for you because fasting doesn't work for everyone. If it does the opposite effect to where it just sends you into this starvation, crazy, eat everything mode, then you're not ready yet. We're not there yet.
That's
So
right. So
just
I think
because fasting this works and it's good for some people doesn't mean it's good for everybody.
Yeah, that's right. And I think like eat to manage blood sugar and eat filling nutrient dense foods, I think that they kind of all go in hand together as well. Actually, some good things on this list for an article that you found on the on the internet. So
There were actually, and especially like reducing your cravings of certain carbs or reducing your intake of certain carbs. And it's like those highly refined carbohydrates that will throw off your blood sugar. They will cause increased cravings. The same with those highly palatable foods, those foods that are actually designed to trick your taste buds into craving them more. So we can't forget that there are some aspects there of science trying to hijack your taste buds specifically to cause cravings.
and I think also like coming back to the nutrient dense foods, I think if you are lacking particular nutrients in the body, if you are eating a very restrictive diet, if you're not getting a variety of different nutrients into the body, your body will naturally start craving the ones that it needs. So maybe this they always say this one, but I don't know how true it is. But if you're craving chocolate, then it's usually magnesium is the one that you're needing to get into the body. But then I'm like, is it really, like with my clients, I'm always like, is it really the chocolate or is that the sugar in the chocolate that you're going for there? Like if it's really magnesium, you should be able to eat like 100% dark chocolate, just eat the cacao and that
Yeah.
craving should go away if it's the magnesium that you're after. Or is it the sugar in terms of that one? But there is other foods that you might be craving that have other minerals or vitamins in it that your body needs and that are lacking. So that's why you're craving those foods.
Yeah. I know when I was pregnant, all I wanted to eat were like hamburgers and watermelon. So there must have been like
Something,
something
yeah.
in there. But I will say also on that chocolate thing, it's like we also can't ignore like the emotional side of food and those connections that we have. And sometimes if you're finding yourself craving chocolate or sweets, maybe step back and find out what are you craving on an emotional level. Do you need more sweetness in your life? Do you need more love and comfort that maybe you're just having that craving in the form of food, but really it's something that you need in like relationship or human connection.
Yeah, that's so true. That's a really powerful one as well. And the other one that's not on the list that I thought should be on there is hydration. So, are you having food cravings? Maybe you're just really thirsty because so many people are chronically dehydrated. And we've spoke about dehydration just recently with Kate Cowell, what Kate ate on the podcast a few episodes back. So, yeah, I think hydration is a really big one there.
Yes, for sure. Good point.
Was there anything else out of this list you wanted to add in there or talk about?
No, I think we kind of covered them because there wasn't really was a lot of overlap within these 12. But I will say overall this was a pretty good article.
Yeah, surprising. Holly and I read a lot of articles, and there's a lot of interesting information out there. So, hopefully, we give you something to think about when we read these articles out to you, that you're not just looking at them and going, oh, I believe that. Maybe you're questioning, like we talked with Keith Norris about, questioning and maybe respectfully declining the opinion of the author. All right. Well, that is the end of today's episode. Our theme music is created by Andrew Bowden and production services are by Kevin Kennedy Spain of Disc of Light Media. Have a great week, everyone.
Have a great week.